It's Real Fit Radio with B
and J.LOU.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence. Charles Bukowski. I thought that was pretty cool.
YOLO. Care to elaborate on that?
I think it's kind of self-explanatory. I do think that a lot of the intelligent people in the world doubt themselves, mainly because they tend to be outliers. So when you're outnumbered, sometimes doubt can set in because it ain't a whole bunch of people walking around like you. While people who are running around aimlessly and just being ignorant, they have all the confidence in the world because it's more of them that's walking around. So of course you can walk around with more confidence. They're accepting you more than the outlaw.
That's heavy.
Not really. I just think it's fact.
Yeah. Well, we're back and we're better. And I hope that you guys are full of life, energy, positivity, and you're tuning in, ready to get some interesting tidbits, some takeaways, our point of view, thoughts on dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Are you ready for what we're talking about tonight?
What's this?
Is there a shortcut to success?
That's interesting. Depends on what success is to everybody. So I'm interested to know what you think about that.
Now you've already taken the top off of it halfway. You're gonna have to dive in because I like what you just said about it depends on what success is to you. Whatever it is, do you think there's a shortcut?
I don't necessarily think it's a shortcut, but it definitely can take less time depending on what it is that you're asking for. Your definition of success is not, well, I just want to have a place to stay, a car to drive, a wife, and a dog. Then it's not going to take much time to probably acquire some of that stuff. You get that and voila, you're successful. That's what you said you wanted to have. That's what you acquired. Boom. There's no more to it. But if you're talking about, I want to be internationally known, financially independent, and my definition of financially independent meaning you don't have to worry about money in no circumstance. That takes a little bit more effort because you being financially independent is not something that just happens overnight. It takes a plan, commitment, persistence, consistency in regards to whatever it is that you're doing to obtain this financial independence or this wealthy lifestyle. I don't know what your profession or your career is out there, but it depends on what that is and what the steps is for that to help you be successful in what you said you want to set out for. So I don't want to say it's a shortcut, but time does play a force in that.
I understand what you're saying. I laughed about this. I had thought about it earlier and, I saved stuff for when we turned the mic on and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. My thoughts are very short and straight to the point with this. I do believe there's a shortcut to success. When I really thought about it, I'm like, it is. It's a shortcut. If people would cut out the bullshit, they probably would attain the goal a lot faster or be that much closer to it. And by saying that, I mean, when you lend your time to stuff that's not assisting in you growing the business, taking care of set goal, or aligning you with what you say you want to do. I want to have this house by this age. You got to be building your credit score. There are steps you need to be taking to get aligned with it. Are you researching houses, the real estate market? How are you going to do it? How are you going to attain it? And then once you actually write that out or, put a plan into action, it's like, are you really doing that? What are you allotting your time to? And I started to think about it a little bit more. And it's just like, people say one thing and you see them doing something else, or you can really start looking at what people put time into. And then they say, it's taking so long, man. It's taking so long. I don't think it would be taking that long if you would be putting more of your time toward the goal than you fucking off. That's a shortcut because I feel a lot more confident when I'm doing everything in my power to get to what I want. Not when I'm, half-assed, I barely have energy Have you looked at houses? Do you know what they're going for? Where do you want to live? How much are you willing to save? What's the process of actually getting a house? Do you want a mortgage? Do you want to get a loan from the bank? Do you want to deal directly with the person that owns it? All these different things. Are you going to refinance it when you get it? If you do get a loan, are you going to flip the house? Do you want to live on one piece of the property and have some equity on the back? How much time have you put into stretching what you asked for, and how much time are you dedicating to it, waiting for it to manifest, versus you only dedicate a little bit of time to it? I know I want a house. I really do. I go to my 9 to 5. I come home, watch some TV. I get on the phone. When you fucking off. And you got to make sure you got some me time, because I've been at work all these hours. And so you trick yourself. But you've done nothing to get you that much closer to what you asked for. And then you look for these freaking hacks or these shortcuts. Like, is there a shortcut to success? If it's something I could do to get me that much closer, I would do it. No, you wouldn't, because you're not even doing the bare minimum. So I think about those types of things. Am I doing everything within my power? Am I exhausting every resource within my fiber? My mind? Am I getting myself positioned to where there's no doubt in my mind that I did everything? I cut away at anything that could be a distraction or keep me from being positioned or in full position to get this quicker. Does that make sense to you? And now a quick moment from our sponsor, Journey of a Legend.
You. Yeah, you. What's your passion? Purpose. Every day you try, you succeed. The time is now. Journey of a Legend. It starts with you.
If you want to learn more or purchase merchandise, go to www.journeyofalegend.com.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't feel like that's a shortcut, but the way you explained it, I could change my perception on that being an actual shortcut, because the long way would be to be fucking off and doing shit we ain't got no business doing. And then we look up 2 months later or 3 years later and it's like, man, I should have done this, or man, I should have had that song done a long time ago. It's like, okay, well, did you look for beats? Did you look for a producer? Are you recording yourself? Did you look for studio time? So if you write these things down on paper, you would see where you lost a lot of time and can actually see how just doing the right shit the first time would cut down the steps of what you have to do now, which would elongate what you said you wanted. Case in point, I'd even use the example of this deck we're building outside. So we're building this deck. Cut a long story short, I looked at this video B gave me, and then I thought I was doing everything correctly. And then I get to this obstacle where something is not fitting correctly based on what I saw in the video. So speeding up the story even more, I come to find out that one part of the square that was created for the foundation was nailed in incorrectly. So as a result, all these long or extra pieces and steps that needed to be taken for this to be a successful project could have been eradicated had I took the time to look at the video a little bit more, or even ask B another question, be like, hey, look at this video before I start latching these other pieces in, or saying I need to cut these pieces to see if this square is done right, because they said there shouldn't be any cutting done because it would fit flush. So I definitely feel taking your time and doing something right the first time, whether it's looking at the steps over and over again, researching, asking the right questions, or not fighting your teammates. Because the funny thing is, we will combat one another in terms of getting something done, and you end up finding out weeks or months later, and it's happened several times, where the thing that we were told to do the first time, or the information that was brought to us the first time, was brought to us months later, and then we bring it back and it was like, oh yeah, well, I was told XYZ, or I read something that this is how you're supposed to do this. And it's like, I could have sworn I was saying that 4 months ago. So now I look back because we wasted 4 months of time. So I feel like that is an essential thing that needs to take place, is honing in on what it is, specifically the steps of what you need to do in order for you to get what you're asking for success wise. I think if you add all those things together, you definitely can carve off a lot of the time that you waste in whatever it is that you're asking for. This is universal. It's not speaking to a specific industry or career path.
And trust me, I know that it's not literally a shortcut. Like, if you're thinking, because I'm still doing the same thing and nothing's happening, so there's not a shortcut, I'm still waiting. So what's the big deal with me in the meantime while I wait? I partake in some other things. I'm not saying you can't have fun or, other interests along the way. I'm just saying that when I've heard people say, my goodness, I wish there was a shortcut to success. Seems like it's taking forever. A great majority of people that say that, if you watch what they're doing, they're not devoting a great majority of their time to executing, getting that much closer to what they want. They have a lot of things they have not done or that's within their power for them to do, and they'll leave it on the table for someone else to do it. Shortcut to me is cut out the bullshit. Cut out the extra stuff that you really don't have time for, or you can't even begin to indulge in because you haven't exhausted all the other possibilities. The example I use, buying a house. Have you saved money? I've been saving. I save all the time. I have a saving set up, or whatever the saving system is. Okay. Well, what are you prepared to put down? I'm prepared to put this amount down based on the, housing market right now. This is what I would need to put down on the specific house that I want that costs this amount. Well, what area are you looking? I'm looking in this area. I look all the time. They have great programs with the banks, and a lot of the homes I'm looking at within this price range have some first-time buyer programs. The shortcut is, if I ask you all those questions, did that, done that, done. I'm just actively looking now for the house that I want. Stuff like that. My short answer on, is there a shortcut to success? And I hope you have a takeaway from it. Is there anything else you want to kind of lend to that, Lou, or wrap up with?
Yeah. I think a lot of people try to skip past making the mistakes or not going through certain experiences and thinking that they're gonna just go straight to, oh, yay, we won, I'm successful. And even if it did happen that way, you're not gonna know what to do if a hiccup happens because you never experienced it. So that process of making the mistakes, meeting the bad people, and what I mean by bad people is running into people and they're saying certain things, and then you meet some other people and they may say something that was a red flag because you heard it before, that type of thing. If you never run into these type of obstacles, then obtain success. You're gonna run into something that chances are you're gonna lose everything that you've obtained in that short time period, just because you've never dealt with any adversity or any type of process. It just came your way. So my thought process is, if that's what you're looking for, skipping the process, skipping the hurt, skipping the pain, the persistence, the consistency, all that stuff, then no, there is no such thing as a shortcut, because you have to go through all that. It's required in order for you to have a sustainable success. And like I said, this is universal. It has nothing to do with a specific industry or anything like that. It's all universal. You have to go through the process of whatever it is that you're trying to acquire for your particular goals. Otherwise, it won't last.
I concur. The process is not pretty, but it's necessary.
Oh, yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggested topics, or you just want to keep this conversation going, you can shoot us an email at realfitradio@gmail.com. Our podcast drops every Monday. You can catch a snippet of our latest one on our Instagram at realfitradio. If you're not following us, you definitely should be. As always, we hope this inspired, impacted, or empowered someone. Until next time.